Jeff Holman, and this is my military story.
Jeff Holman.
Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this, brother.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Hey, I just want to say, man, how does it feel to be you're talking to somebody that you deployed your first time in the same year?
When
90,
I,
93, right? 93 Somalia?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 93.
Towards the end of my career, I was getting that, and that's when I was like, nope, it's time to get out, man. I had socks older than Joe's coming in.
Dude, I mean, honestly, dude, it's hard to find somebody that came in this early. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I came in '91, right
Yeah.
at the end of the Gulf War. I watched the Gulf War on TV. Um, and I mean, and now that I don't know why, because I think it was like a year after I graduated. I think I knew I needed to screw around or something first, but because I always kind of knew I was going to go in, but yeah, it 91. It was this is a totally different army, and it's funny because it's that my span is just a blinking of an eye, but yet still seeing how the things have changed from when I first came in till what it was to when I got out is just mind blowing.
Right. So you kind of said that it took you about a year, but you knew you were going to go in. Was that like call of service or like you had family members that were
Oh yeah,
served?
yeah. So my dad didn't serve, but my mom had four uncles. Three of them served. One was like a operating room tech or something like that, medical. Other one was a pharmacy guy, and then my one uncle, he was a linguist over in Germany,
Oh,
113s.
oh wow.
So he was local. I ended up living with him my senior year in high school. Um, and so he had gotten an AR-15 from an old buddy, taught me how to tear it apart and all that. I don't remember
Yeah.
shooting it too much, but um, kind of made me learn how to, tear it apart and how it operated and all that stuff. So I think he knew because I was a shithead kid, man. I was a punk teenager.
Yeah.
So I think he was pushing. Um, for me, I think he knew I needed that. So, and I knew
Yeah.
I did too. It was, yeah, I can say I definitely needed it.
Why do you think you were like a bad child
Oh,
growing
dude.
up?
So, I mean, I don't think I was a bad child. I just,
Okay, a punk.
yeah, exactly. Parents got divorced. Stay with my dad. I remember like before my parents got divorced, my dad would, he'd take me out in the backyard and throw dirt balls. I was a catcher for baseball. So I remember my dad take me out there and he'd help me practice. He'd throw dirt balls in there, help me dig them out, stuff like that. But once I got divorced, it was me and my younger brother. Um, so he was picked up a second job. So he went from kind of there every night to me kind of not having any kind of structure, role model, anything.
Right.
So, and of course, I get with the wrong gang and not blaming anybody else. I'm sure I was the bad influence in that situation, but so went joyriding. My buddy knew he did some chores for this guy. He knew where he had his hid the keys for his like work pickup truck. So we took that one night. Ended up getting pulled over by the cops. Cops follow us home. We missed the turn. Just a shit show. So it's just stupid stuff like that, man. Just Devil's Night. Throwing eggs at cops but it was a different time, man. It was different then because I mean I remember cops. They didn't they didn't get off on chasing you, but I think it was still under good fun at that point. You know what I mean? It wasn't as anywhere near what it is today. I mean, you just look sideways and you get hemmed up for anything these days. So,
Mhm.
but it was a small town. I mean, my little hometown had a blinking light, man. That
Yeah.
was it. So there wasn't a whole lot to do. Um, but it was like my sophomore year. Went through the gym in the high school. ran into this kid and he was lifting weights. He was kind of a jock. Got me into lifting with him and then football, and then started really liking it because it kind of replaced that family structure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and if you didn't have the good enough grades, you couldn't play. And as the more I got into liking football and needing that structure, the more I was like, "Ah, shit, I actually got to do schoolwork and homework and get good grades." So, I just never had that before. There was nobody that checked homework. There was nobody that held me accountable for grades. So
Yeah.
it's like that dog you don't train. It's going to piss and shit wherever it wants. So, and that was
Yeah.
me pretty much. So,
Yeah. So you said that like your uncle kind of like like kind of pushed you in the direction to join
yeah,
the art.
he was a good role model. He didn't do a career, but I think he did like maybe either 4 to 8 years. He was in for a little bit, maybe just a hitch, because I think the only place he talked about was Germany.
Hmm.
But he understood structure, he understood accountability, discipline. So
Yeah.
without like completely taking me under his wing. I mean, I think he tried to treat me like a young adult. I was 17, 18 when I moved in with him, um, but yeah, I think he understood the value of what the military can offer because I didn't have anything, man. I was too immature. I think I could have went and played maybe Division II football out west somewhere. I had a couple buddies from high school that did, and I could have done that, but I wouldn't have made it. First
Right.
semester, I probably would have got kicked out, partying, chasing chicks,
Yeah.
just undisciplined stuff. Um, I can't remember if he like kept bringing it up or if he just explained it very well when I would ask him questions. But my and their dad, so my mom's dad, my grandfather, he was World War II. My dad's dad was World War II. So I mean, it wasn't like expected, but it was a pretty heavy influence of service in the family.
Yeah. So since it took you like a year after you graduated, like did it keep like having that itch in your brain, like, hey, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, like,
Actually,
or was
yeah.
there a moment? Was there a moment
No,
you're like, I gotta do it?
I think if I remember right, I think I had to pay off court fees or something to tell you the truth. Now that I think about it, I think I had to probably pay off a court fee or something before I could get in.
Uh-huh.
So, but and then I think I had a decent job. I think I was delivering salt for like the Culligan truck company or something like that. So you get a little comfortable, and then I think once the Gulf War kicked off, I was like, all right, dude, get off your ass. Let's go. Let's next thing
Right.
and I started looking around and my buddies and even guys that were a couple grades older than me, they're driving the same cars, they're sitting in the same spot at the bar every night. It's like, what do I want, man? Do I want this? Do I want I don't think I want this. I don't want,
Right.
you know. And that was my big thing is I think I didn't know because I was a punk kid, but I think I had a sense that, dude, if you want to change something, you got to go do something different. So I think that was the motivating factor in that.
Right. And was it because of the Gulf War you were like, hey, I need to go to like the army, or did you have any other branch inside
So
to mind?
actually, um, I joined the Marine Corps, and I think at the time they had 7 general orders. I can't remember how many they had, but I remember sitting on the beach and drinking with my buddies on a bonfire, and they were drilling me, on the Marine Corps general orders, and I'm like an idiot screaming it. I'm not even in yet, and I'm a stud. That kind of male bravado
Yeah.
shit. So I remember shipping, and when it gets you down to maps, and you go to I think you stay the whole at night at the hotel, and then the next morning, I remember this Marine Corps recruiter or Marine. If you ever lied, you're gonna go to prison until your kids are, scaring the hell out of you to make sure you didn't lie. And I I must have not put everything that I should have on like my background stuff, but
Oh, okay.
I remember bringing it up, and then the Marine Corps, I'm pretty sure they're like, nope, you got to go back and redo your paperwork, or they either didn't want me or I had to go back and redo my paperwork, and I end up somehow talking to the Army recruiter that was right next door, and then because the Marine Corps wouldn't guarantee me a job, and I like the idea of being in the Corps. You know, everyone loves the uniforms, but I wasn't a real fan of not having any kind of control of what my job would have been.
Hmm.
So was talking. I think I was waiting for the Marine recruiter to come back the one time. Ended up talking to the Army recruiter. And he's like, "Well, we can guarantee you if you qualify for stuff." So I took the. I think he got a hold of my ASVAB score, or remembered it, or something. But so ended up, you know, they were showing me the infantry videos from like. So this is 90, 91. So you know the videos are from 80s. Everyone's smiling in the videos, running around. You know,
Yeah.
that bullshit, you know. And I'm like, that's cool. And I think it was an airborne video. So um so I ended up going with the Army then. Did a delayed entry program. God, it wasn't too long, maybe a couple months. And then April of 91. Yeah, I think April of 91.
Oh, damn. Um, and what job did you first pick?
So it was 11 Bravo.
Okay.
Um I ended up being 11 Bravo Charlie 2, if that's right. The Dragon Gunner before the Javelins.
Okay.
So I didn't know it at the time. I don't think we got that until we got down there, but I'm pretty sure it was just like a straight 11 Bravo or 11. I don't think they had 11X yet, but um, yeah, it was 11 Bravo. And I was, you know, if I was smart, I would have tried to push for something, those skills to get out with. But on my, I remember thinking I want to do something I can't do as a civilian. If I'm gonna go get yelled at and all this other stuff and have to get up and I want to do something that I can't do out here. Because then
Right.
to me, in my mind, it's like, why? Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of jobs in the military that like you'd have to go to a 4-year school to get, you know what I mean? And then you're in the hole
Right.
already. So I like that part of it. I wanted something that I couldn't do on the outside.
Right.
And honestly, my thought was thinking 4 years, I'm going to come back home and be a deputy cop back in
Hmm.
my county. Back then we respected the cops. Um, they were fairly cool, honorable, not a lot of crime in my area. So you had a lot of interaction with them, but it wasn't like it is today. It's not so confrontational.
Yeah.
And we were raised to have respect for them too. That's another thing. I mean, I tell my girls, it's man, when I got in trouble as a kid, whoever found me doing whatever dumb shit I was doing beat the hell out of me, smacked me up on the way to my house, and then whoever was at home, mom or dad, smacked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a lot different, kind of a lot of different sentiment towards the police force,
Hmm.
back then. So that was initially that was the plan. But again, I knew I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So
Yeah.
this county is what I know, and the Army's gonna let me go do stuff, and we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, I guess.
Yeah, you're kind of talking like at the mindset of any young teenager like
Oh
myself. I
yeah.
didn't I didn't I didn't know what I was gonna do either. I joined straight out of high school, and I remember the recruiter was like, "What do you like to do?" And I was like, "I don't know, math." Like, yeah, and then I honestly I think they were hurting for medics at the time. I can't remember, and that's how I ended up getting the job. But so when you joined infantry, did the Gulf War have anything like any influence on you on that or no?
No, I mean I pretty much knew, like I said, I knew I was gonna go in at some point. I think the Gulf War just kind of was like, all right, dude, let's go. Things are happening. You're gonna end up waking up in 20 years and it's gonna be too late. So, watching what those guys were doing and kind of motivated me at that point. So I knew at some point I was going to go in. I just needed to get off my lazy ass and make it happen.
Yeah.
Which the Gulf War is just kind of what nudged me to do it.
Yeah. So April 1991, you go to Fort Benning, right?
Yep.
And how are you like as a young adult? Like, are you in shape or do you need to get into shape?
No, it was like the mental side was the hardest thing for me because I my dad meant well, but my dad was also old school. You know, you didn't cry, you didn't hug your kids. Um, you know, you didn't. There wasn't a conversation unless I did something wrong or I wanted him to know something. He didn't, you know, he didn't ask how my day was. He didn't ask this or that. So, and I got yelled at when I knew I had done something wrong, but it was more of kind of a smack in the back of the head or a, you know, I won't say a punch, but so it was that having somebody, the unknown of, man, there's going to be a bunch of those drill sergeants going to yell at me for, I don't know for what, but how am I going to react to that? I didn't know. So, but like the physical side was easy. I was young and still in shape. And I, I'm pretty sure I was trying to, you know, get in better shape before I left. Um, but it was pretty easy. It was, I think I got squad leader pretty early. I think I got fired on that one though, because I had to sneak away and try to take a shit, and I come down and everyone's getting smoked because I'm on formation. So that ended. But it was funny, man, because we had a drill sergeant that the rumor was he kept trying to show up and jump in formation of guard or reserve units that were getting deployed to the Gulf. So, and he was I'm telling you, dude, he looked like Hitler. He had the little mustache and he just was mean as shit. Um, and he liked to hit us, like to physically enhance our thought process, as he liked to say. So
Yeah.
and it was weird because right when I was going in, the platoon behind us, they were just starting that gentler, kindler army stuff. So we kept getting our heads shaped all the way through basic training. The platoon behind us, by like week 3, they had high and tights and they were having pizza parties, like on Friday nights or some shit. And we're
Uh-huh.
still getting scuffed up and all kinds of stuff. So, um, but I mean, it was easy. I don't ever remember kind of, it was the mental side more than anything. Cause
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with that. A little bit of football got me ready for it, getting yelled at by coaches and understanding structure and stuff like that. But, um, I wasn't, I didn't hate it. I liked it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when you talk about like that guy that was like jumping around platoons like that were deploying and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
what kind of mindset were they telling y'all like, hey, like we're like in a full-time war or like we're in a short-time
No, I,
war, you know?
I think the Gulf was either done. It was either done or well wound down because I don't remember a lot of. I mean, I remember hey, you're an infantry. Your job is to fix the enemy, close with the enemy, and kill the enemy. So I mean, there was a lot of that, but it wasn't like it was after 9/11. Because I
Yeah.
mean, there was the one AIT I had to go to. Instead of me doing my AIT training like I was supposed to, they had me. The drill sergeants had me in the tree line, showing infantry tactics to the recruits. So it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't like, and these were tankers that they knew, and this was a little bit, yeah, this is like 0304. I just remember them knowing that, hey, you're probably going to park your tank and you're probably going to go knock down doors. So there was that urgency then, but when I went through initially back in 91, now it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was more of a peacetime. There was a lot of guard dudes. I remember we had we had this shitbag private. He was Alaska National Guard, and he just could not shut his mouth up. We ended up having to go take him in the back stairwell and have a little party. He just kept getting us smoked, man. I thought I was a punk. This guy, man, you weren't going to tell him anything, and he wasn't changing for shit.
Yeah.
So But yeah, it was. I mean, it was pretty easy. Besides getting used to the army, routines, it was pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, what is your first duty station?
First one was Fort Drum, New York,
No. So where are you from originally?
Michigan.
Oh, okay. So cold and cold. So you should be all right.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
um,
not that fucking cold.
yeah, I was stationed in Alaska, and I had people that would come from Fort Drum. They said it was colder than Fort Drum, dude, because I think the wind or something like that. But
I've been stationed in both,
mhm.
and I was down in Anchorage for about 2 years, and then I was in Fairbanks.
I was in Fairbanks too.
Yeah, it's colder in Fairbanks.
Okay.
Now there's more snow in 10th Mountain.
Uh huh.
And I will say, even when I was at 10th Mountain, it was pre 9/11. We still had the old white cotton PTs, the
Okay.
sponges.
Yeah, yeah. They're like
So
sweats, right? They're like sweats.
yep.
Okay.
And we didn't have any of the moisture wicking stuff yet.
Yeah.
So, and I swear to God, I was outside more in 10th Mountain, diving through rivers and stuff for training. And my personal experience, I can guarantee I was colder up in Alaska. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about negative, like Christmas time frame. I remember we
50.
had 6 days of every day being under negative 40 degrees.
Yeah. I've had some like especially down there where you do that training at Black Rapids, that area.
I was an
Man,
instructor
dude.
there.
Yeah, it's that art, and then you get the Arctic wind too.
Yep.
Oh my god, dude. There's
Did you
like
go to the
nothing.
Did you go to the glacier, or did you go during the winter?
No, I just went during the I didn't go to the actual training, but I went to the whatever they have now. It's like cold weather integration course.
Yeah.
And so, dude, I'm talking about like I hated being out there and like negative 50, and I'm like, bro, this is
Yep.
wild to me, dude. But okay, so you're at Fort Drum,
Yep.
and this is 91, early 91.
Yep.
How
Brant.
good?
I just remember getting there or being told, you won't get bored there because you're always off doing something, which they were right. And then they had just they had reactivated 10th Mountain in 85, 86 or something.
Mm-hmm,
So the barracks were, I think, brand spanking new, maybe a year or two old.
mm-hmm.
So you walk in and everyone's used to it now. It probably sucks to the guys now, but
Right.
for us, these barracks were awesome. You walk in, wall lockers, you had a shitter and a shower you shared with the room next door, and then you had 2 beds in there. And so it wasn't open bays, it wasn't, 4, 5, 10 dudes to a room. So we were living large. It was nice.
Yeah, I think that's what it sounds like. What you're describing, it's like a dorm, right? There's two
Yeah.
rooms in it, and then that's what
Yep.
we're still rocking now, or that's what they're rocking now for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so what is it like being in the infantry during this peacetime?
You got really good at saying bang, bang, bang. Because you didn't get money for blanks, dude. I
Yeah,
can't.
it's not
It
like
was
nowadays.
Oh, dude. I had one. We had one workup. Went to, I think it was JRTC. We had the blue tip sim rounds. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
And that was a conventional line unit that was getting that. And I was like, holy. So yeah, that was the biggest thing, was the money for training pre and post 9/11. That was the big thing. That and the gear. Um, yeah, you had to learn how to say bang 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 a lot.
yeah,
Um, but I also remember just doing a lot more training. We didn't have all the online sexual harassment and
yeah,
this, man. We got to go train. It just, you know, and it was nice because it was my first duty station. I didn't know any different.
hmm,
I just assumed everybody, Monday morning, you went to work and you didn't see your civilian clothes till Friday night. I thought that was the way it's supposed to be, you know. And we were outside. I mean, dude, every week was a minimum 12 miler. Um, and I know the big ones. I remember, and I can't remember. I remember at the end of some of our road marches, they had the trash cans full of beer. I mean, this is the old army still, where they can get away with that shit, you know. So we had combat Olympics. I remember that. 10th Mountain was a good place to go first, man.
Yeah.
It 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 showed me what I'm supposed to do. I had some really good team leader, squad leaders. Um, had a really good battalion commander that kind of saved our ass in Somalia, but we got really like, and it was an OSIT and cohort. So like half the battalion was a group that was in basic, and then the other half got there like a month later. That were all cohort guys from basic training. So
Yeah.
even from the get go, we were all pretty tight.
Yeah. So okay, so kind of explain to me. So actually, I have a question first before I go that deep
Yeah,
into it. What was your helmet like?
it was the old
Were you wearing the Mitch or whatever?
nope, it was before the Mitch. It was the
The
old
K-Pod?
K-pot. Yeah,
Oh,
it was a
dude.
step removed from the Vietnam one, dude. And dude, we were happy to have that shit, you
Yeah.
know. And then we had the Skull Crushers, and then they finally came out with the mounts for the NVGs
Right.
on your helmet with the strap that goes back to the back. We thought we were living on. We thought we were just struck gold, dude. It was
Right.
hilarious. But I
Right.
mean, we didn't have red dots. We didn't have anything, dude. It was the old green H harnesses. You know, the old. But
The beat.
it was awesome. And but no IBAs, no vests
Okay.
or anything. So
Peacetime, right? Peacetime.
yeah, yeah. And they, man, we weren't worth it them spending that kind of money on us. Hell
Right.
no.
So okay, so let's talk about you leading up to going to Somalia. Like, how did y'all get the word of that?
So I mean, we were always gone, man. We were either down at Fort Sherman, Virginia. I can't remember how many times I went to Panama when Fort Sherman was still open. At least 4 or 5 times, 3, 4, 5 times. Um, we went to Hurricane Andrew to help recover that. Um, but then when Somalia kicked off, I think we went like a year after. We weren't one of the first ones in there, even
Mhm.
from 10th Mountain. I can't remember. I think Triple Deuce either replaced us or we replaced them. I can't remember exactly, but there had been a couple rotations, at least one rotation before us. So we knew it was coming. We I don't remember that oh shit moment, to be honest with you. I think we're just too busy.
Right. So you guys are like constantly doing rotations over there, right?
Well, yes, I think that was the gist. It didn't last long because, the old commander in chief, as soon as Black Hawk Down happened, he kind of tucked tail and dipped out of there. So um I can't remember how long 10th Mountain was involved, but I know at least one or two other battalions had been there and rotated out.
Okay. So do you go there like after the Black Hawk Down incident?
Nope, I was there right smack dab in the middle of it.
Okay. So like let's paint the picture here. So you're in Somalia, right? You're on the rotation, right? Before the actual Black Hawk Down incident happens, right?
Yep.
What are you guys doing over there?
So our job was QRF.
For
Um,
who?
for any of the UN forces.
Okay.
So this was a whole man. I think I ended up with like 5 or 6 medals from this one rotation because
Yeah.
it was under the UN. It was also a NATO thing, some weird way. But we had Tunisians. There was everybody. Brits were there.
Yeah.
Marines were there. I remember Tunisians just because they did perimeter security for our base.
Mm-hmm.
And there I never found out if it was true, but anytime, like, dude, if they thought anybody was trying to hit the wire, they would shoot across through the base to where that point was. We learned don't go up on the roof to see what's going on because those fuckers are firing from everywhere. The rumor
Right.
was their chain of command said if any of the skinnies get in your section of the perimeter,
Yeah.
we're gonna execute you. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's true, but they didn't play around, man. And then we do PT the next morning. We see a body or a cow or a dog's body hanging in the wire, the
Yeah.
perimeter wire.
Do you, so what are you guys like living in? Like the area?
So it was the old University of Mogadishu. It's man, I don't know, 10 clicks. It's on the west side of Mogadishu.
Okay.
So it was, the airport, the coast, the airport, and then most of Mogadishu was kind of north of the airport, but
Yeah.
we were on the west side of it. So we butted up right up against the damn desert.
Yeah. So day to day, you guys are okay. So like, would you have like, would you say like your company or your platoon would have like a QRF day and then like a guard day and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stand
So,
down?
yep. We'd rotate through that. I remember doing a lot of range days. There was a range we'd kind of travel out to. We didn't have it on the base. Um, and then we would do foot patrols out and around. We were still kind of conducting some things. And again, I was just a Joe, so I don't remember if it was
Right.
high speed stuff or not. But,
Yeah.
um,
You're just
you
doing what
know,
you're told.
yeah. I mean, I remember the one time one of the helicopters. It wasn't tasked, and I don't even think the Rangers were there yet. September 25th, we had a helicopter go down. And I remember our unit had to go down. We recovered a body or bodies from that. And I remember one platoon getting pinned down outside the wall, and that was a shit show. The engineers tried to blow a hole like 3 times so that they could just, come in the perimeter that way.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, it was, kind of the typical 90% boredom, 10%
Yeah.
maybe something will happen type thing.
So the patrols you're doing is mainly like for like presence or what?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
It wasn't anything like what we were doing Iraq or Afghanistan. There wasn't,
okay.
I don't remember any targets. I don't even remember kicking down doors until after we, maybe got shot at. But I mean, it
Okay.
was so honestly, man, it was all like tin hut hooches type things. It was straight up slums.
Yeah.
And you could tell like the city used to be beautiful. You could tell it had like at the basics of it, it used to be nice at some point, but
Hmm.
it had years of war, man.
Yeah.
Famine, war, just tore it apart.
Yeah. Okay. So how long? So you guys are doing like a year rotation there?
No, that was like 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So midway through your tour, are you guys aware of the Black Hawk Down thing, or like you know what I mean?
So we knew Rangers well. So I don't know, a month or two after we get there is when the MP vehicle got blown up by an IED. We didn't know it at the time, but it's been, from what I've seen and heard, this is the first time that Al Qaeda has actually went up, kind of stretched their legs, from what I
Okay.
understand
Okay.
through history and um. So, but we didn't know it. We didn't even know who Al Qaeda was, but
Right.
so we had the MPs get blown up. We went out perimeter, recovering parts and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and then the the militia had, I think the Pakistanis got ambushed and they like hung a bunch of their bodies on a bridge or something like that, or desecrated them or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, I think is when it was like, hey, they're sending over a task force. They're going after a deed.
Right.
I think that's when we knew. And then we would see him a little bit when we went down to the port, the
Hmm.
airport, because that's where you eat your supplies and stuff from there.
Yeah.
So I think we knew they were in town. And then we'd start hearing some things that, they hit a warehouse with UN workers that are all white, but yet they didn't figure it out that it wasn't, it's just weird stuff like that. So, but we were out at the range on October 3rd, and all of a sudden we started noticing one smoke plume and then a second smoke plume. and then you get the binos out and you can see the helicopter because we were a ways away.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, something's going on, man. We're trying to figure out where it's at. And then all of a sudden we get the radio call, hey, pack your shit up, get back to the base. I don't think we called it a fob then, but
Yeah.
so we get back over there, and the rumor mill, man. It's hearing everything from
PNN, dude.
oh yeah, just you don't know what's going on. You're just hearing what's going on and all kinds of stuff. And so, but we did. I mean, they were telling us, hey, get ready. Um, I think they were trying to figure out whether move right to where they were having contact. What we ended up doing was going down to the airport, and staging out of there. And that was pretty eye opening because once we got down there, and I think after the second Black Hawk got down, they rolled us right up to the ASP, the ammo supply point.
Yeah.
And dude, it was like, here, take it. They were just chucking shit at us. I mean, grenades, thermites, ammo. I mean, hadn't seen anything ever like it before, man. It was
Yeah.
thrift days of the ASP.
What? So like, okay, so obviously you're a young private, and like, what are your leaders telling you? Like, hey, we need to get the hell over there. We need to do this or what?
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of shit talking. It's like what the hell they doing going in daylight. Even we had NVGs at that point. I
Right.
can't, I don't I yeah I think each one of us had it. Um, so there was again a lot of when there's lack of information, then the Joes just start filling it. So,
Yeah.
um, but I think once they started pulling some of those Rangers out and we started seeing them come through the gate and their vehicles all torn up, I think that's when it was like, oh shit. If these
Yeah.
guys are getting torn up, and part of you was like, if these guys are getting torn up, man, I don't send me out there. What the hell am I gonna do? You know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
but then part of it is like, part of it is also like, hey, we've been training our asses off for like 3 years now, better than any other unit I've probably been in because
Uh-huh.
of the cohort. And we were together for 4 years.
Right.
You get a couple senior NCOs or whatever that PCS in, but we pretty tight knit group. And I think
Yeah.
it was we were a line infantry unit. It wasn't like we were experts at kicking indoors or anything like that. But I think the
Yeah.
basic infantry fundamentals, I think we had down pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So
Man, I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of your storytelling, but like I know what you mean. Like you're like, damn, we're not like right. The Rangers come in and you're like, wow, they got fucked up, and then you're like, damn, I don't know if y'all have seen any type of kinetic activity like that up until this point. So of course, you're as a young private, you're like, holy shit, dude! Like I'm literally about to be called an infantryman now.
yeah, it's and I think that was when I can't remember if we had the Spectre gunship over there. I know they didn't give us tanks. And I remember being told that they didn't want that visual, on CNN.
Right.
It was humanitarian. They didn't want tanks. But I remember F-14s doing flybys.
Yeah.
I was a big F-14 kind of fan of that aircraft, and
Yeah.
I remember that as a private thinking, God, and it's funny because I was reading a lot of Vietnam era books, infantry guys, SEALs, whatever in Vietnam, and I remember a couple times sitting, I can't remember exactly where, but being like, God, I'm in a book. I am like living this book that I've been reading, or
Yeah.
just thinking that finally I'm in it. I'm finally what you train for.
Right.
And it's like playing sports, man. You don't play sports just to practice all the time. You want to go play some games. You want to
Hell yeah.
tackle somebody else. So
Yeah.
and being young and dumb and you know you don't know no better. You're
Yeah.
invincible. So it's like, man, let me out. Let me in.
Yeah.
Let me. I'm gonna save the world and nothing's gonna touch me.
Yeah.
That shit.
Yeah, I know, like young infantry cats, young medics. There's like Cav Scouts, tankers. They all want that badge too. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I
Oh
want my
yeah.
CIB. Like me, I wanted my CMB. So okay, so you get to the ASP. What are you guys doing after that?
So they started. So a bunch of our guys loaded up in the Malaysian 113s, and they had some other wheeled vehicles. So started loading us up to go out and secure the Ranger sites.
Right.
Because what we were being told is they were bogged down, and I think at the time it was just one site that they either knew about or was just one site we were going to. I don't know, but um, and then we had anyone that couldn't fit in a vehicle was in a soft skin that maybe had some sandbags,
Uh
and we're watching the shitstorm out the gate, thinking, well, all right, nice knowing you.
huh. Yeah.
You know, it's like this will be fun, but it ain't gonna last
Yeah.
long. Um, you know, but it was cool because we still had 11 hotels, and we had gotten Mark 19s from the Navy, and we were, from what I'm told, is we were the first ground unit to use Mark 19s in ground combat.
Wow.
So our 11 hotels, which had Humvees, they weren't up armored, but a couple times I remember them pulling up and just laying waste with that Mark 19, man. And
Yeah.
I was,
It's a sight to see.
oh man, if and it, you know, at that point, if I would have had a kid the next day, I would have called my kid Mark 19 because that's how much I love those things, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
And they even sound really cool.
Oh, just yeah, that thunk thunk thunk, man, and it
Yeah.
just yeah, they're sexy. I like them, man.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, when you guys are going out, right? Is it just your company, or is it like just platoon, or like, hey,
So
it's the Army and the Marines going out? Because I know you said there was Marines there and stuff. So
yeah, I don't think I don't think Marines were there anymore. I think when they did the invasion for the world to see, I think they were there for a little bit, and then I think as Army we replaced them,
okay,
if I remember correct. I could be wrong. They weren't around us. I know that, and
yeah,
I
your
never really saw 'em.
your immediate area.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah,
remember seeing. And I'm sure because even after the Black Hawk Down incident, I know there was a lot of dudes that were involved that I had no idea that were even there.
like
From I know there was some SEALs. Never saw any SEALs. You know, so
okay,
but
that's
we were on the other side of the city though too. So
yeah,
it wasn't like we're on we weren't down at the airport with them. The only night we were down there, like we'd go, like I said, we'd go down there if we had to transport a VIP or something like that, or we did a lot of vehicle security, convoy security. I remember doing that. Um, so yeah, there was a lot more than and again, the deal. You're somewhere where combat is going, and you have your paper towel tube vision of what's going
right,
on,
yeah,
and that's it. You don't know what the hell else is going on a mile down the road. So,
right.
um,
Okay, so you guys are going out. Are you guys with the like UN forces or anything like that?
So yeah, I remember doing convoy security for I think Tunisians or Pakis or somebody. I remember they had to get up on the semi truck and beat the kids with sticks because the kids would climb them. We would, man, those poor kids, man, because we had the piss bottles or whatever, and we,
Yeah,
you know where I'm going.
yeah, I do, I do.
So, but even like we had
It
candy.
evolved. I don't know if you knew that. It evolved in my era.
Well, the MRE heaters we used to
Yeah, dude. With the
put that in water bottles and let them have that, and I mean
yeah.
nothing malicious.
Hey, they were
They
throwing
were
some
little
hard
shits.
rocks, dude.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, that if Somalia ever like gets civilized and has baseball, I'm telling you, every one of those goddamn kids is going to be a major league pitcher because those sons of bitches can throw.
Right.
Unreal, man.
So, so, like, what is the mission? Like, what are you guys doing? Is there fighting? Is there kinetic activity and stuff?
There's a little bit, like we had that helicopter go down. Um, I can't remember what country's unit got bogged down. We had to go down, had to go out and help them. But nothing real big. Nothing. nothing like the night of the 3rd and 4th. I mean,
Yeah.
you
So
know, some
that's
pot shots. I remember I had put about half a belt down an alleyway with the 60. I
yeah. So
remember,
that's what I'm referring to. So like, what happened like on the third? Like you said, you guys went to the ASP, right?
yeah.
Okay. So what is going on when you guys leave?
So then we're staging to go out. We keep, and this is hours, man. They're taking, and you gotta, the movie kind of hints to it when they talk about 10th Mountain. They did not want us going in there and helping them. I mean, they
Who's they?
afterward, the Rangers,
Okay.
because they're fucking Rangers. And
Yeah.
I love them. There's a place for them. They got their mission. They're set. Um, and again, it's one of those, they get more money for funding for training. It's more of the jealousy thing. They
Yeah.
had to probably put up with less of the big army bullshit. So, but I think a lot of it was they were exhausting. I'm pretty sure they sent cooks out, Ranger cooks that were in the Ranger unit. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they sent them out to try to rescue their own guys before we went in.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any like visual proof of that or whatever. I remember hearing rumors about that, but
Okay.
so I think there was a lot of that. I think there was a little bit of a pride. They didn't want to send in 10th Mountain until they knew for sure they couldn't self
Yeah.
extract. But it's funny because I know we were down there for a couple times that Rangers sent out some vehicles, and as soon as they left the gate and they hit K4 Circle, it's one of the major um, traffic sites in town. They got
Uh-huh.
lit up, and our battalion commander had us taking some back road goat trail from the airport to the seaport, and that's how we entered the city. And we hardly got fucked with until we were just about on site.
Okay.
So I think our battalion commander kind of doing that, and I've heard through the years that that was his call that he made to kind of
Uh-huh.
do that. Um, saved a lot of lives that night.
Yeah.
So
So okay, so you guys are driving through the town. Is it like honestly, I'm gonna say it because I don't know other way to say it. Or is it just like the freaking movie? Like
oh yeah,
they're just shooting from the
oh
roof
yeah,
and crazy.
yeah,
Yeah. And then
yep.
you guys are in like okay, so you're in soft armor vehicles.
Some are in soft light armor vehicles, the 113s. There was,
Yeah.
I think I can't remember. I think the Pakistani. There was like one or two tanks,
Yeah.
if I remember right. But we'd get to an intersection that because the skinnies would put all the tires and frames or whatever they can to block the road, and
Right.
these fucking tank drivers wouldn't go over anything.
Just plow through it, dude. Yeah.
I I but there was a language barrier. I know we had a couple 10th Mountain guys pull out pistols and threaten some lives of drivers if they didn't do what we wanted them to
Yeah.
do. It was There was a lot of frustration, and that's a lot of that. I think lessons learned from Somalia kind of prodded this combined arms, the striker, the remolding of our battalions, because it's if we're in a tree line and going near pier with light infantry guy, yeah, we're great. We're probably gonna take it, but anything beyond that, we didn't have the capacity to do anything. We
Mhm.
had to wait for another country's military assets to agree and then show up, and then we're on their timeline.
Okay. So
So
you guys are driving through the town. Your battalion commander makes good ass calls. And are you guys gonna go recover like a platoon of rangers? Like, does everybody have their own mission? You know what I mean?
so I know we were going to a site. I don't know. I think they were condensed by the time we left. I think they were condensed down to one site. I think because
Okay.
I think their original convoy made it to the one site, if I remember right. I know we were just going to the one site, and it was
Yeah.
pretty sure it was the site that had the helicopter, because that one was the longest, because they had to pretty much take apart the helicopter to make sure they got the remains of the pilot. Because we were there till the sun came up. I know that
Yeah, on the third. Okay.
on the
So this is
fourth.
on the fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
okay, so third night going into the fourth?
So on the October 3rd, it started in the afternoon.
Okay, okay,
It
okay.
was like mid afternoon, I want to say.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And then, yeah, I remember sitting out there watching the sun come up on the 4th, man. Surprised
Damn.
that I made it that far to watch the sun come up.
And has it calmed down a lot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Those little birds, man. I'm telling you what, those little birds. If those guys didn't get like Medal of Honors, medals, I don't. Something's wrong because those guys were just gun running the whole night. The
yeah.
whole night. They were. From what I understand, they were about the only thing keeping at least the one site from being overrun.
Yeah. Man, I'm curious too because I wonder how much like so like it took so long, not on you guys' fault or anything like that. I wonder how much of it was like political. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
Oh,
they don't want
I'm
like a large
yeah.
conventional unit because then we're literally talking about a war, right?
I think there was the political pressure, um, which that whole thing didn't know it at the time, but
Yeah.
learning about things from whether podcasts or books or whatever, there was a lot of political pressure on that whole chain of command. Ours, theirs, the Rangers, the task force,
Hmm.
everything. So, but yeah, the optics of it, they were trying to control the optics of it. They were
Right.
so, but I think at some point somebody was like either said fuck it or they realized, hey, if we don't do this,
Yeah.
then you're going to need to send us a lot more body bags. So,
Right. Yeah,
you know,
that it makes sense. I mean, it was a good call at the end of the day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so okay,
Well,
you
it
wake
took them too long. It took them way too long.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, if they would have let us probably go in, and again, we're not some super force, but if
You do have the numbers though.
yeah, and they weren't set up yet. Now, Bakara Market was the Wild Wild West. They could pull some numbers as they proved, but man, we gave them hours to get fortified. I mean, good God, dude, we could have. Now we would have had a lot of casualties, but I
Yeah,
think we would at least gotten it done earlier. You know,
for sure. Okay, so you wake up on the 4th. How much longer are you like on site that the Black Hawk gets torn apart and all that
I don't
site
even.
destroyed?
I don't know. I was pissed because I was out of dip, um, and I don't know. It was such a kind of running together blur
Right.
type, you know.
H-
So
How long are you still in Somalia after the incident?
not long. I know we didn't go out the gate.
I just want to hop on here real quick and give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Craig Fleming at Fleming's Cleaning. Go ahead and use code word GWAT13 for your next commercial or residential cleaning. If you're in the San Antonio area, please hit him up. It's fall, it's dusty. Let's get your house or your commercial property clean. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel, share this content, like, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on all major socials: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We're also on Spotify. So if you like to listen to podcasts on the road, go ahead and check us out over there. And with that, let's continue the episode.
And I remember 24th ID. It was an old division out of Fort Stewart. They had not Hawaii's, not Hawaii's electric strawberry, but it was
Was it the rainbow?
no, no, it was yeah, 24th.
I mean, I could just let me see. I can Google it.
It looked like Hawaii's, but it didn't have the Thunderbolt in there.
Let me see.
I think it was
Oh yeah,
24th.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
They had Bradleys. I remember Bradleys and tanks. We're now on the ground. It was okay now to have Bradleys and tanks.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the show, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. A little later. So
Yeah.
okay. So when you get back to the states, like, how do you feel? I mean, you're young in the army, and you just went through one of the most, unbeknownst to you now. You know what I mean? Looking back at it now, but like you went through war. You know what I mean? Like you're like crap.
I just wanted to get laid and drunk, man. And then
Yeah.
my girlfriend, I thought my girlfriend showed up just to break up with me. I don't know what the hell that was all about. So it was honestly, don't know. I was super tan
Yeah.
because we either lifted weights, played volleyball, or tanned if
Uh,
we weren't outside the wire. Um, so I drank my ass off. I remember drinking
yeah,
for a while. So
yeah.
um,
I mean, you were in the army. I mean, you're getting your like midpoint of your first enlistment. So, like, do you like
towards the
it?
end,
Do you like it? Like, hey, I want to continue doing this, or what?
no. So the army part was cool until I did get back, and I remember we would go down to Syracuse quite a bit. I had a buddy that was from that area, but I remember going to the mall, and I remember not being able to let a group of black people walk past me without me stopping and making sure I watched them go past me because I
Okay.
just had left an area where I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people were in Mogadishu or what the, but everyone in that town was just black and they wanted to fucking kill me.
Yeah.
So I was having an issue letting that go. Um, so and kind of seeing how that went, I didn't like getting shot at. Um, so no, I didn't like hate it, but I was like, okay, I punched that, check that box.
Yeah.
I need to go do something else,
Right.
because after a little while, you get tired of the kind of the army bullshit. You know what I mean? The getting yelled at for shit you really can't control, or leaving your mailbox open. So I have to stand in front of my mailbox for a week straight in Class A's and give everyone that walks by me the importance of physical security speech. Really, dude? So it was a lot of that kind of shit that I was just kind of tired of.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I got out August of 94. Yeah, August 94. Went back home.
Okay. And I know what you mean about like how you said you had a group of black people and you just kind of like were weary. And like I felt the same way when I came back from Afghanistan, like with Muslim
Yeah.
people. You know, even motorcycles, dude. Like I was so
Oh,
paranoid of motorcycles for the longest time, dude. And
I like so my one deployment later on, my wife at the time, her mom and dad were living in Detroit, Dearborn or Sterling Heights.
oh
Every fucking gas station is run by a Haji. So
yeah, I can
I'm
imagine.
like, after my first time, I'm like, nope, honey, you got to go in and deal with that. I can't do it. Any trash on the side of the road, dude, I am locked up, screeching to a stop. Wife is like, what the fuck are you doing? Dude, people get too close to me. And I was like, nudging them away. Yeah, it was, and I think that was my first deployment. After that, it got a little bit easier. You
Right.
get better at turning it
Coping.
on, turning it off, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, if you don't do it a lot, once you come back from something like that, it
Mhm.
takes you longer to kind of let the guard down. PTSD, whatever you want to call it, I call it
Yeah.
occupational, skills. But um, so yeah, it's funny because really the only real flashback that I've ever had was I remember being in the motor pool up in 10th Mountain. It was wintertime and I heard a Black Hawk flying over and I looked up. As soon as I looked up, it felt like I was back in Somalia. I could
Yeah.
feel I could feel the desert heat on me. I could smell the desert. It was weird. And it lasted for like, I don't know, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's like the most vivid um flashback I've really ever had.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you had that break in service in
yep.
1994.
Yep.
I was 1 years old. So what are you doing now? Because I'm looking at your thing, your little
Not a
questionnaire I
damn
gave you.
thing. Not a
Okay, so
damn thing.
no,
I'm trying to figure out where all these companies that want to hire you, because 9 out of 10 employers want to hire you. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
old
you're
army,
hireable. You're hireable.
yeah, the old army commercials. So, honestly, looking around, I actually think it was good for me because it helped me really kind of uncompress
Hmm.
without being around no one with expectations over me, not having to perform any at a high level PT, anything. I think it was actually probably the best thing for me. Um, but I think I had a couple little shit jobs, nothing solid. I couldn't find anything really good. But
Yeah.
again, didn't know what I wanted to do yet.
I mean,
So
it's also hard too, like finding something that would compare to what you just went through.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's what I always tell people. Like, I truly don't admit because I did 4 years of garrison, right, and like, or actually more than that. But doing your job in a deployed setting, there's like nothing that gets better than that, dude. Like, there's literally no, in my opinion, there's like no job that can compare to
no,
like what you're doing. And so I can imagine you being a young adult, like what you're probably like 21, 22 years old and then trying to
yeah,
find something that's comparable to Somalia, you know.
yeah.
So okay, so when do you get back in?
It was, man, only about 6 months.
Oh
It
shit,
did, yeah.
dude.
It didn't take me long to be like, okay,
Yeah,
I don't, I don't, I don't have. I wasn't in long enough to really acquire the softer skills to get the kind of rewarding job I want.
right,
And once you get removed from it, it's like, okay, the army wasn't too bad.
right.
They didn't yell at me too much. It wasn't too early when I had to get, all that kind of. I mean it, but also, dude, I was again still a little bit of a punk because I was on extra duty for so long. I think I started by shoveling snow and I ended extra duty mowing grass
Yeah,
because I almost missed movement to one. We were going to JRTC or something and went over to some chick's house, fell asleep, and next thing I know, my squad leader and team leader pounded on her front door like an hour after formation was supposed to happen. So, um, grew up a lot there, and it forced me to
yeah,
grow up a lot. So,
yeah.
um, I think that time off from it kind of made me realize what the military had done for me,
Mm-hmm.
and all the pain pretty much was my own doing of
Yeah,
being a dumbass. Um, and I think that's when I kind of realized, hey, if I pull my head out of my ass, I can probably, because like once you are, and that's the cool thing about combat is it removes all those distractors. It's like the NFL guys when they talk about staying in hotel rooms like before a big game or whatever, the Super Bowl, whatever. And it's kind of like you're just stripping away everything. You don't have to get home to pick up the kid or the appointment with the wife or this or it's all just combat and your dudes. That's all it is. Taking care of PT, making sure you're fit, but it strips down everything. So
yeah,
and that's kind of I think what I needed when I went home is kind of realize what was actually going on. Reality of, hey, I don't really have any training just because I was in the army doesn't mean shit to anybody. Nobody's gonna, oh, you were in the army. Oh, they don't care. Nobody gives a shit, you know.
yeah. Hey,
So
that's a good way to put it, man. Because I mean, I know we talked before this about like the soft community and guys like that, but I always tell people like when they get out, and I always tell them like, hey, nobody cares who you used to be.
yep,
And like, so if I can say that to a lot of people, like somebody said it best, like, hey, don't let your career become your life, but don't forget what you did.
yeah.
And that is very important, man. Like, I think what if people could get over themselves, it's hard too, and I feel like that's a big driver for PTSD, man.
Yeah, that's I got my thoughts on that. For me, yes, it's what I did, and I say that in like I've got a bunch of army T-shirts that I enjoy wearing.
Right.
Um, whether that's recognition or if that's to announce I don't know. Deep down, who knows? But I mean, I'm proud of what I did. Um, but it's not me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm still a
Absolutely.
flawed person just trying to do the best that I can and quit making the fucking stupid mistakes that I make. But it's that background when you do a good job, people like, oh, it's because he was military. That's why he does such a great job at this. But if
Right.
you're a drunk, crazy person, oh, it's the military. He fucked his head up. You can't win, dude. You can't. And you'll get a handshake and you get a thank you, but at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
so
Dude, honestly, I noticed that too, because like they're so quick to say thank you for your service, thank you for your service. I'm like, but do you want to hear what we did?
yeah,
But, like I always
yeah,
tell them like, hey, there's a war. This is the like when I started this podcast, I'm like, hey, I talk about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm like, when I was 9 years old or 7 years old, I can't remember when 9/11 happened. I'm like, this war went on, and then most of y'all are my age, and we went through it. Some of us fought, some of us didn't,
yep,
and like you said, like they don't give a shit, dude. They just want to
no,
go out and do make sure they still have their freedoms. They don't really know what it means to like
no,
actually sacrifice. You know,
no, no, and that's eh, you know, and that's why we wear that uniform so that we can have a dumbed down. I don't want to be mean, but
you just whatever.
Americans are lazy. I mean, just look
Yeah,
at our voting history, and it's we like not having to work for stuff. We like
right.
not having to research because we've got this phone shoving in, half of it's bullshit. But so it's frustrating, but that's why we wear the uniform. That's
Yeah,
part of the freedom part. That's part
yeah,
of what we do. And
yeah,
it's
dude. I'm so glad you said that because I think a lot of military people also forget you fight for the freedom of people you don't agree with too,
yep,
and
as
that's a
yep,
hard pill to swallow for some people.
it is because it's this especially the Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah, yeah,
It's I don't agree with them. I was raised, force raised, whatever, Catholic, but I never really got into it. And then just being deployed and seeing how groups of people use that religion as a excuse,
right.
I just hate it. But it's I didn't agree. I didn't agree with his, I guess, background or religious, but it's we got people celebrating this guy getting killed, and that's not what,
Sad.
dude. That's not what I sacrifice for.
Yeah.
That's not what I, in our, I say our side, the Republican side, conservative side, whatever. You know, we're the crazy ones, the degenerates with the guns, and we're not. I It's been hard to kind of fathom and understand what's going on and how that's the norm, and it's disheartening to see what's going on,
Yeah.
especially if I've got somebody that celebrated that act that I care about. It's been hard to coming to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, in my personal values,
Yeah.
and again, dude, I don't care if you're religious or you're sexual. I don't care. I don't, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care. That's your right to do whatever.
Hmm.
I've got a family bloodline that has bled for that right. But if we're celebrating taking somebody out because you disagree with them, the hell are we doing? you
Right.
know
Yeah.
so yeah,
Eh,
that's been tough, but
yeah. I'll just say one more thing before we move on from that. Like, I think that us as Americans, like with the phone and with technology now, everything's so like, I guess the word, I hate to use it, but like triggering, but we need to uh start where we agree with each other. You know what I mean? And I feel like if there's a lot more things I feel like the middle class America can agree with than they disagree with, honestly.
oh yeah, yeah,
You know?
and it's in my personal opinion, we're just a society of emotion right now.
Yeah,
We're
big time.
just we've got a
Shit, the past 10 years, bro, at least.
yeah, and
Like, yeah.
we've got certain people gaslighting and playing on those emotions, and we can't have a civil conversation anymore because everyone's so emotional, and I disagree with you, so I'm just going to scream purple polka dots in your face to mute you out, and it's
Yeah,
like, what are we doing? It's
we need to have conversations, man.
yeah,
It's
and
easy.
it's yeah, and it's
Dude, look at me and you, man. I don't know you at all. And we're having a good conversation right now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so okay, so let's jump back into 1995, right? You go back into the army.
yes, yep.
Okay. What what makes you okay, so are you infantry again or what are you doing?
No, the infantry was full that day. So when
Is this active
when
duty?
yeah, when prior service guys come back in, we are given whatever job is short, because I'm guessing if they figure that we are coming back in knowing what we're getting into and we're stupid enough to come back in,
Yeah.
then we're desperate enough to take whatever job they'll give us. So I think that one I had to go to 88 Mike school,
Hmm.
fucking truck driver. And nothing against truck drivers, but not what I was looking for.
Yeah. Not your cup of
So
tea, man. Not your first choice.
yeah. So, but again, I knew the army was big enough to where, yeah, if I don't like this, then I'll go to a selection. I'll there's other things that you can do. The army's big enough. I've had buddies that kind of went and did some other things. So it wasn't like I knew it would be the end of the world. And to be honest, it was a paycheck and it was getting me out of home. It was
Okay.
getting me somewhere else. So yeah, I was
You,
down at Leonard Wood. I was scheduled to go to Fort Riley, Kansas, what division's there.
that's I don't know. It was one
Big
first
Red one.
yeah, so
Yeah.
first infantry division.
Yeah. So I was scheduled to go there. And then they were I know the drill sergeants were putting out the airborne thing, and I was like, oh hell yes. So volunteered for airborne status, and then went to airborne school, and then went to Fort Bragg. So
Um, do you feel like let me see how am I gonna word this? When you went 88 Mike and you're like, man, this kind of sucks. This is not what I want to do. But do you feel like, hey, we're gonna have another Somalia thing again?
no, no, it was funny because when I got back in, we had the Gulf War, and then Somalia. So I was I was a unicorn because I was a dude that had a CIB,
Yeah.
and especially a CIB like walking around Fort Leonard Wood. I
Right.
was like, ooh, ah. I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool.
And you're like a specialist, right, or something? That's
Yes.
even hey,
Yeah,
E4
spec.
Mafia is killing it, dog.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I don't want to say I like embrace the shitbag side, but I was having fun.
Right.
It was fun. I was an E4 because so you already kind of knew the deal.
Yeah, you knew the game.
Yeah, so I didn't get treated like shit by the drills. There was about 4 or 5 of us prior service guys that were going through, so we were kind of left to our own. They didn't fuck with us. um and at that point I was just, what can I get out of the army type of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So and that's why I volunteered for airborne school again, something different. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Um. Okay, so are you like your expectations? What are your expectations from the army this time around?
A paycheck and send me, and I'm going somewhere,
Yeah.
to be honest, man.
Okay. Because I'm
I
looking at your the thing you sent me, and I'm just seeing like the increasing of like responsibilities that you're doing and stuff like that. So like it says right here, you made it to E5, right? You became a sergeant,
Yep.
and then you also became a warrant officer one.
So yeah, got to Fort Bragg. We went on an MFO rotation to
Hmm.
Sinai, Egypt. Super cool. Super cool. One of the pre 9/11 hidden gems of the army. Um,
I
so they
have a
would
lot of friends that been to Egypt and they like it. So
Well, it depends on what part of Egypt you go to, though, because there's North Camp and there's South Camp. If you go to
okay,
North Camp, you're going to be a certified alcoholic when you get done, because that's all there is to do.
okay,
It's not on the Red Sea. South Camp is right on the Red Sea.
uh-huh.
So whenever you hear about the president doing some meeting at Sharm el Sheikh,
Yeah,
that base is right next to Sharm el Sheikh.
yeah,
So very right on the Red Sea, beautiful. Um, there was like one bar, I think 2 bars, but the Americans weren't allowed the one. But you only needed the one bar because we were allowed to go out into Sharm el Sheikh, and so that was awesome because it's a touristy place. Some of the best scuba diving in the world. I literally think I spent every paycheck on dive to dive.
uh-huh.
But so we deployed over to that, and I had an old buddy from 10th Mountain that he went to Warrant Officer Candidate School, and he was flying Hueys down at South Camp. So I ran into him. And so he was telling me what he did, and I'm like, oh, cool. And so I started going on some of the flights with him because, like, some of we had one of our OPs was on an island that we had a resupply by sling load.
Mm-hmm.
And another OP was the top of a mountain that we had a resupply by sling load. So was kind of around those guys a lot, and started talking to him and was like, well, that'd be cool to do,
Yeah.
more pay, cool job. So started studying for, I think it was called the AFAST. It's the flight test.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I couldn't take it over there. So that was a 6-month rotation. So for like 3 or 4 months, all I could do was study for it.
Yeah.
So I studied for it like a fiend. I was, I had the bug, thankfully, because I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. So I'm glad I, didn't have a choice to take it at the time. So once we got back to Bragg, I took the AFAS test, scored really good on it, did the rest of the paperwork, and then got picked up for it. So,
Okay.
and then from there, that was like 98. And then went to Warrant Officer Candidate School down at Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to lie to the sergeant major because he wouldn't sign my paperwork to let me go to flight school.
Yeah.
So I had to wait till he was on leave and then go up to the brigade sergeant major, have him sign it. Got my
Mm-hmm.
ass chewed for that one, but back then it was one of those, if you wanted to go do something else, it was like you were taking a shit on the infantry. How dare you want to go do something else? These sergeant majors like took it personally or something, man. It was weird.
Yeah. So how did the whole like warrant officer school go?
it was it wasn't like basic training hard. It was jump through hoops hard. It was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. So you had 7 minutes from the point that first call. You had 7 minutes to make your bed to military standard,
Uh-huh.
shower, brush your teeth, and standing in formation. 7 minutes, which doesn't sound that bad until you have to do it.
Right.
So we started by sleeping on the floors so that our bed was made in the morning. They wouldn't let us do that. So then you're in your bed sleeping like a mummy, so that it's less you got to do in the morning. And then like eating at the chow hall was weird. You like one utensil at a time, scoop your
Yeah.
food up, take it straight up, straight into your mouth, put it in your mouth, straight
Mm-hmm.
out, straight down, ground your utensil, and then you can start chewing. It was just weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's,
Very cultish.
well, I mean, after going through it and going through flight school, it was all very procedure driven. Everything is checklist and procedure driven.
Yeah, it
So
makes sense.
once you go through, you're like, oh, that's why they're so anal about that. It's
Yeah.
all about procedures and stuff like that. So, but it was corny. You had to sing, like each class had to come up with a class song that you had to sing. We had car washes to raise money. It was like half army, half college weirdness.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
So
So
what was the moment that you were like, I'm gonna get out, and because you had a second break in service, right?
yeah, so towards the end of flight school, I think the only thing I had left was ground week. And I was dealing with some stuff, personal stuff, got stupid in the head over a chick. And this is still pre 9/11. This was late 99. And there was a lot of animosity between the lieutenants, the commissioned, and the warrant corps.
Right.
And nothing like what I expected. And I wasn't a fan of it. So, but I think I had even maybe some Somalia stuff that I was still dealing with, some self-sabotaging issues still going on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up getting out, talked to the company commander. He wasn't happy, and I honestly I wasn't in the mindset. So got booted out of there. and then went back home. And that was a long break in service there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks like it's about 5
Four,
years.
I think it was 4 years.
Oh yeah, 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
Yep.
made you want to come back?
So I got out. I was working for a buddy that had like a landscape. We would do like leaves, mow lawns in the summer, put in docks in the spring, take docks out in the
Yeah,
fall. And then I started
9/11,
going to school. Huh?
9/11 maybe.
Soon. So I was going to a community college back home in Michigan, and actually ran into a buddy. Well, we weren't buddies, but he was in Ranger Bat in Somalia. So him and I meet, and so we're recollecting, and that's where I ended up learning a lot about the other side of the fence on that whole Somalia Black Hawk Down thing. Was talking to him. So, and then 9/11 hits. Um, so I'm pissed. He's pissed, and then we're sitting in these. It's a liberal arts 2-year community college, and I'm listening to these people that probably haven't even been out of the state, and saying how Americans deserve this because we ruin everything, just stupid shit.
Yeah,
And so me and my buddy are getting kicked out of class like probably every day, just
just
because.
just arguing.
Yeah, because we're like, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, shut the hell up, what do you know, where have you been, what have you done, you
Uh-huh.
know? So got tired of that because I was like, oh, so was doing that, and then getting very frustrated around being around those people. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I ended up being a recruiter for the National Guard, for the Michigan National Guard.
Okay.
So I'm still not kind of feeling the getting back in thing. I've been in twice. It's like, okay, dude, you're obviously, you weren't committed for it, or it wasn't for you, whatever the case may be. Did some cool things, get your shit together and get a life. Um, so, but I did enjoy recruiting. I was kind of getting into that. I did understand that it does help. I think I was a good example of that. And it wasn't like I was in jail or but I was aimless, and it gave me at least a base.
Yeah.
So once when and if I ever did pull my head out of my ass, I'd, be able to fall back on that lifestyle. But so, but I remember our recruiting office was in the mall. And so I remember watching the TV, and we were invading Iraq, and I'm shoving a fucking cheeseburger down my face, and people are coming by, thanks for serving. And I'm like, dude, you're a piece of shit. You're sitting here,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
cushy, and I'm watching. I think I had a buddy that was in 3rd ID from 10th Mountain or 82nd. So I know, he's crossing the berm, and I'm sitting here shoving a cheeseburger down my face. It's like, dude, you're able-bodied. Yeah, maybe a shithead, but you're not jacked up. What are you doing? Why are you here? I felt like I was hiding. So, um, and I just had started dating my soon-to-be wife at the time. Um, so I was talking to her on it, and it was like, I got to go in. I and started seeing the things that were going on. Started thinking about, okay, if I start having kids, I was terrified of us being like Israel, having to put soldiers on school buses so they don't get fucking blown up. You know, um, my philosophy, I wanted to fight them over there instead of here. So, um, but talking with her, and I think I had like a total amount of time of like 8 or 9 years of service. And it's like, okay, if I go in, it's got to be for the rest of the time, because it's kind of stupid to do anything over 10 and not do your 20 in my mind. So, talked to at time, I think she was my fiance, and I think her dad had served in the military, so she wasn't against it. So yeah, got back in. Um, because
Not
I had
infantry.
tanker,
Yeah.
fucking tanker. Infantry's full again. So I was like, whatever. I'll take it. I didn't like it, especially because as an E5
Yeah.
in a tank, the E5 doesn't have a hatch to get out of. Every
Uh-huh.
other fucking person on that tank has got a hatch,
Right.
except the gunner. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So, but AIT was interesting because I think I sat in that tank twice.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the time, the drill sergeants had me in the tree line with all the privates teaching them infantry shit.
Yeah.
So, because um, they knew that a good number of the tankers were parking tanks and they were walking and knocking down doors.
Right.
So,
So how long are you? So you had to do the school for the tank, and then you still keep your E5 rank,
yep.
and when
Actually, I can't remember. I can't remember if I was an E6 in the guard. I think I was a 6 in the guard and I had to go back down to 5, I think. Something
okay,
like that. Yeah. But I
okay,
was an E5.
okay, and then you get to a third ID, and how
So
how how fast are you going to Iraq?
so I get the third ID. I've got a CIB. Now, this was the unit I went to OIF 3. They did the Thunder Run and everything. So there's a bunch of CIBs.
Yeah.
But I walk into S1 and the private looks at my chest. He's like, "Oh, you're going to Alpha Company." I didn't know. I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." Well, Alpha Company was infantry. So I'm a tanker. As soon as I realized that he put me in an infantry unit, I was like, I ain't saying a fucking word. It beats being in a fucking tank.
Okay.
So do the workup and everything. It doesn't come up again for like months.
Nobody
It
asked about
all
your CIB, nothing like
well,
that.
I mean, yeah, they asked about it. Yeah, it's Somalia, blah blah blah. But nobody says. Anytime you talk to somebody like any other medics that you meet that's got your combat medic badge, do you ask them if they're still a medic, if that's still their
Yeah, that's
MOS?
true. Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. But I was out on mounted patrol in Humvees, get a call. My platoon sergeant gets on the horn and says, "Hey, first sergeant wants me and you back at the base in his office in like fucking 2 minutes. What did you do?" I'm like, "I didn't do anything."
This is still in Garrison, right?
No. This is so we fast forward. I'm telling you the story of the MOS.
Oh, okay.
So we're over there. First sergeant's losing his mind because he thinks he has a tanker that's leading infantry convoys out in Solder City. He's losing his shit. So that's how they found out about it later on. And then he went and he went to Sergeant Major and then got my MOS switched. It was easy to do, but yeah, it for
Oh
months.
shit. Okay, so you were tanker, and then first sergeant finds out, and then you just move over to a Bravo again.
So he thinks I'm just some tanker out there because I was the point man for all of our
Yeah.
presence patrols.
Uh huh.
So yeah, he lost his shit for a little bit there until he kind of got the full story explained to him. But yeah, anyway, so I get the third ID, and I fucking hate the Bradley. I kept having nightmares of being in the back of a Bradley, hearing the bullets hitting it, and then the gates start dropping, and then I'd wake up. I'm like, fuck, that's how I'm gonna die. That's how I'm gonna fucking die. I'm guaranteed. I was convinced I was gonna die getting shot coming out of the back of a Bradley.
Yeah.
Hated that thing. So we go, we do a bunch of field training exercises. I think we go to NTC. Um, yeah, and then we head off to. I'm married. I got my first kid, daughter. So that was a little bit different because all my other stuff had been just me.
Mm-hmm.
All I had to worry about was me. So, um, but I think it made it a little bit easier because I had been in before. I did have a combat
Yeah.
tour. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Yeah.
so hard, and I think I learned how to kind of turn that emotional switch off. Just nope. I got kids. I'll worry about that when I get back,
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, and you're going to one of the most hot and heavy areas of Solder City, dude. So right, that's
Oh
where you
yeah.
go, right?
Yep, Solder City.
Yeah. What's
Yep.
it? So what's it like going to Solder City compared to like Somalia? Obviously, Somalia is like was 2 days of like maybe 1 day and a half of like really heavy fighting, and
Yeah.
then you go to Solder City.
So the unit that we had replaced, I can't remember what unit we replaced, but they are the unit that really got in the shit in
Solder
Solder
City.
City. Yeah,
Yeah, is it that 126?
it could be.
Yeah, those guys were in that warfare thing, that
Yeah.
warfare movie. Yeah,
They got fucked up.
yeah,
So they were still really pretty. Some guys were. You could tell they were really hurting.
right.
So, but again, it wasn't my first one, so it was kind of just keeping my guys under me, just keeping them level, not too high, not too low, um, and kind of talking them through a lot of things. I it seemed like I had that advantage of a prior, which allowed me to kind of really, I think, help my guys get past that first couple hurdles. You know, um, as much as the army tries to desensitize you, um, when you on taking a life, it's still a pretty significant mental hurdle that you've got to get people past.
Yeah.
Um, now I've had a couple dudes that were straight up. I guarantee they were sociopaths. But for the most part, everyone else, they're good people that got
Mm,
raised by good people.
yeah.
You know, and it's hard. That first one's hard. It messes with the head, man. So it's trying to get those guys to understand it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't go against everything that you were raised to believe and stuff like that. So, there was a lot of that stuff because, the infantry, they're all 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, man, you
Yeah.
know? So, and I need them to perform because I've seen what happens when you don't perform
Yeah.
as a
People die.
cohesive. Yeah. So, that was kind of my big thing is really focusing on them so that one, I can do my job as an NCO, bring them back alive, but two, though, those fuckers need to bring me back alive too. If
Yeah.
there's self preservation there on the motivation part.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good though too, man. Like, it's important to have. I don't want to talk shit, but like it's kind of be kind of weird to like how NCOs when I came in they had multiple deployments in there. But I'm not saying that nobody's a capable leader, but it's definitely hard to get into that mindset when you've never been in the situation.
Yeah, and I I think it's one of the things that kind of kept me from, because part of me always kind of wanted to go SF. I had a buddy that was in 10th Mountain. He got hurt. I ran into him when I was at Bragg. He went to selection Q course. He was Green Beret, and I always thought I kind of had that mindset for. I don't know if I would have made it. I don't know. But I always kind of always wondered about that. But I think after deploying with Third ID and seeing what limited funds we had for training compared to that, special forces guys,
Yeah.
um, I thought I really felt that I could make more of an impact with my guys than me just going off and then being away from my family for another year and a half and not even combat.
Hmm.
And part of me too also was, if I'm going to be away from my wife and kids, there better be a fucking really good reason. Schooling, a month long school, okay, that's a good reason, but dude, a year and a half or however long that pipeline is like, I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. I wanted to have kids. I had fun with the time, just my single daughter. I enjoyed being home when I could. So
Yeah.
The deployments were long enough.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed getting those guys ready to deploy too. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was like a 12-month deployment.
yes. Yeah,
Uh,
that one was a 12. Yep.
yeah. So what's it like your first contact over there?
So Solder City was nice because Mahdi Militia owned that, and they didn't play the IED game. So we didn't have to worry about IEDs until we left the actual like city limits of Solder City.
Mm-hmm.
So it was straight up man on man gunfight, and I'll take that all day long. You
Yeah.
can keep those fucking IEDs, man. It's because we lost to Bradley as soon as we left the southern part of Solder City one day to go to another fob. Bradley got hit, blew up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, we're not leaving Solder City unless we have to,
Yeah.
And we were on Fob Hope, which is like right on the northeast corner. So life was good. I mean, we did a lot of patrolling, man.
Yeah.
Solder City doesn't look big, but once you're down there driving, I mean, dude, on the map, I had to keep counting the roads. I mean, it was like Barney Rubble way of navigating, man. It's tight. There's roads, and they all look the same because it's just squared off and it's squared.
Yeah.
So, um, I that was probably one of the better deployments.
Even though the immense like firefighting going on.
Yeah,
But it's this is what you want to do, right? You're infantry,
well,
like
I would rather and I think all of us were the same way. Is I'd rather get shot at because then you can maneuver, you can defend, you can take cover, than be anywhere else because the IEDs. That's where everybody outside of Solder City was getting torn up with IEDs. We weren't,
Yeah.
so we were like, hell yeah, dude, we'll take that any day. Because at
Yeah.
least it seemed like you had more control over a firefight than
Yeah.
just an IED,
I can agree with you. Like I didn't go to Iraq, but in Afghanistan, they were getting you into a firefight, luring you into an IED.
Yep.
So it's like,
Yep.
like so.
Yeah, Solder City was just firefights, and there was a lot of jacked up. There was a lot of jacked up shit too up there. We found a mass grave. That was pretty hard. Good number of kids in that that was hard just because it was, and that's where I started. There was that sectarian violence. I'm like, what is that? What is it? And it just seeing, God, what these holy people in the name of God were willing to do to each other.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you can shove that. I don't want any part of it. So kind of I learned a lot, grew a lot, saw a lot in that deployment.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you feel more infantry now than the Somalia deployment? That's a
oh
weird
yeah,
question. I don't know if
yeah.
that makes sense what I just said.
No, it's yes, because yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm older, so it's Somalia, dude, everything just flew by. And after you're in it and even I think my first couple of times in Solder City getting shot at, but once you get used to it, things slow down and you start, you got time to think, you got time to do this, so yeah, I felt more comfortable, felt more in control, you know.
Yeah.
I was teaching as a private, you're not teaching, you're just whatever they tell me to do, you
Yeah.
know. So
It does what it's told.
yeah, so and I started, seeing the higher levels and what they do and understanding more,
Mhm.
so but yeah, it's I liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then shortly after, like you PCS to Fort Wayne or Fort Richardson, and then you're going on another deployment.
So I'm still in Iraq, and they start doing the new BCTs.
Okay.
What were they
Brigade
called
Combat
before?
Team. I don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever task force or whatever. So they were restructuring the army. They were standing up a new airborne unit up in Anchorage. And I'm from Michigan, man. I love snowshoeing and skiing, and so I was like, hell yeah. And I was coming up for reenlistment. So and over there, when you reenlist over there, you didn't have to pay the tax.
Oh yeah.
So I reenlisted for 4th of the 25th. Tropic Lightning in Anchorage, whatever the fuck they were thinking on that one.
Yeah, they actually changed the name. I think
Yeah.
it's the 11th Airborne Corps now or something like that.
Yep, the Angels.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they didn't do that the fucking first time, but anyway. But I didn't realize when I reenlisted within 6 months I was going to be with 425 in the same goddamn spot I was at when I enlisted for them.
Okay.
I shit you not.
Yeah.
So I think I reenlisted, and then like a month later, I find out that they're tapped to deploy. And I'm like, when? I found out the date. I'm like, God damn it. And then I found out the location. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So I had enough time to PCS from Fort Stewart. We rented an RV and drove all the way from Fort Stewart, Georgia, through Canada, up to Anchorage, which was kind of stupid, but it ended up being a good time.
It
was.
I did the same drive, dude.
Yeah, it was nice.
I did. I went from Wainwright to Fort Hood. So
nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was. My then wife was pregnant with their second one. My first one she was just old enough she was walking. So, she was fun. We the Badlands in the Dakotas, we stopped there, stuff like that. It was cool starting to, kind of interact and learn my dog's personality. It was a very rewarding. I don't think the wife liked it because she was very sick during pregnancy. So I think she hated it, but it was good. It was a good time.
So when you go back to Solder City, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're let me see here. You're E6 now, okay? And
well, with who?
No, it says like you're moving from E5 to E6, right?
For when? Because that was when I was in Solder City with 3rd ID, it was an E5.
No, the second time.
Second time, yep.
Yeah. So, okay. So
we didn't go right back to. We went back to Baghdad. We didn't go. We went into Solder City a couple times, but we actually ended up being. So when we first got there with my Alaska unit, we were at the MOD down on the river. We were there for a little bit, and then we ended up going down to a fob south of Baghdad, right off the MSR. Oh, damn it. No, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so we ended up being out of there for, I think, 10 months.
Okay. And what is the difference between this one and like the one that you just did?
So like Solder City was all urban. Oh yeah. Solder City was all urban.
Okay.
So when I went back the second time, we started off in Baghdad, but like I said, then we got assigned south of Baghdad. So there, Petraeus, this was when Petraeus was like, hey, instead of like single big huge fobs, we're gonna push people out. We're gonna make cops. Remember that time frame, the cops?
I don't, because I was not old enough yet. So
no. Well,
yeah.
So, we had a shit ton of big old bases, BIOP and Fob Warhorse, all these other, God, I cannot remember the one I was at. We weren't there a whole lot. But anyway, so they started pushing out, and we would go out and either build these patrol bases.
Okay.
Or like take over an abandoned or an occupied like police station. So like each company, I think, had like 2 COBs or patrol bases. So like our fob was awesome. We had the best chow hall. We were never fucking there. We got to go in there and then we were if we were too dirty to go on the chow hall, we didn't get to eat. They pulled that bullshit with us.
That sounds about Army.
Fucking fobbits, dude. I hate fobbits, man. Oh, we're going out the wire, and you're seeing these guys that are playing volleyball out there, and they ordered like volleyball jerseys with their names on the backs, and it's like, dude, you should be ashamed. You're getting combat pay. You should be ashamed of yourself. So, but it was, it goes back to that infantry mindset, man. That's why most infantry guys are just cocky, hateful dudes, because we like it, but yet we like that we get treated like shit. It's almost a badge of honor, because
It's a
you can
toxic
say,
relationship, dude.
yeah, you can say I've had it the worst. Pretty much every time there's multiple MOSs somewhere, the grunt has it the worst. And I think most dudes like it that way. It's a little bragging pride they have.
Yeah. So what is y'all's mission like going into Baghdad and then like on this deployment?
So, like up when we were in Baghdad, I know we had HVTs we were looking for. So,
Okay.
now you've got SEALs, you got Delta, you've got all these alphabet guys doing their thing. So, you know, where on the list our HVTs were, I don't know. Probably at the bottom. Who knows? But we found bomb makers. We had dudes that were kidnapping kids, sex traffickers, Mahdi militia dudes. I know we went after their generals quite a bit. But once we moved to the south, it was more of a kind of a presence thing. It was getting out there, saturating the area. So we would do a lot of maybe some foot patrols, but a lot of mounted patrols too. And it was more kind of presence patrols at that
Yeah.
point.
It's way different from your last one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were living, I think, either a week or 2 weeks at a time. We'd be at the patrol base. So we had a couple connexes. No, at first we didn't have anything. I had, those cement on the side of the road for ditches, these huge cement. They're probably like 5 feet tall,
Yeah.
three-sided,
They're like tri walls or something like that. I forgot what
something
they're
like
called.
that. So I
Yeah.
had two of those pushed together upside down. That was my hooch for, I think, 6 months. And 80 degrees in the summertime in Baghdad, in Iraq, sounds great. Unless it was 120 degrees during the day, 80 degrees, you're freezing your ass off.
Yeah.
Dude, we were freezing.
Yeah.
Man. So, but there was a lot of that. We like our patrol base, we got hit with a V-bid. But
Is there less kinetic activity on this one?
yes, a lot more presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more presence. We would get engaged from, I don't know, a click out. We'd unleash on them. They were probably gone even before we started firing back.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So okay, so I bring this up because like young privates, right, that you had under you, they're not really doing what you did your past two deployments, right? Like as infantry. So I could imagine the frustration probably being there because you guys are doing a lot of hearts and minds,
No,
or no.
no, because I mean we would get out and do some night patrolling,
Yeah.
which they loved.
Okay.
And it was, I think we were required nothing below a platoon, but we had a platoon sergeant he was awesome.
Hmm.
And he would let squads kick out
Okay.
and kind of do a squad. Now, we weren't allowed to go out very far. I kind of got a little butthurt on that because I thought it was a trust factor, but he was smart. It was a support issue, you know. So, but we were able to get out and do a lot of that. Now, we had pretty long periods of no firefights, no
Yeah.
action, and I think that frustrates guys more than anything.
Right. That's
You
what I was
know
alluding
infantry
to.
get. Yeah, if you let Joe shoot or blow some stuff up every once in a while, you can pretty much treat him like shit. But you gotta let him. You gotta let him off the chain every once in a while to
Yeah.
itch that itch. If you don't, they're gonna start breaking stuff that you don't want broken.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's what I was alluding to, man. Because like how are you like with all this experience, like keeping your guys like on track? Like, hey, don't get complacent during this time.
I mean, I think you gotta know kind of when to take your foot off the gas with them too.
Yeah.
You know, um, obviously there's all kinds of personalities. I had some that were I don't want to say mentally weak, but you knew it didn't take them much to get wound up. And then if they get wound up, then they're gonna get their buddies wound up, and then you're dealing with a bunch of just fucking monkeys freaking out on you, because they're bored or they're frustrated or whatnot. So, it's trying to keep them busy, try to, get them together, going to the gym. Video games, that generation loved video games until they're playing all night. So, a problem I had is my guys would, before we were going out to patrol base, where we didn't have any, there was no TV, none of that shit was out there. We didn't even have power. So they would stay up the whole night before we were gonna go out there playing video games. My fucking driver's falling asleep, driving down the goddamn highway, and I'm throwing hand mics and all kinds of shit at him. Wake the fuck up. Stupid shit like that. So,
Yeah.
um, but it's trying to get him, do some training. We did get some weights out at our patrol base after a little while, so there's a lot of that. You kind of do some hip pocket
Yeah.
training, just trying to keep them entertained a little bit. We,
Yeah.
it's Iraq, so any direction is a gun range if you want it bad enough. So we did a lot of shooting. They it's nice because it relieves stress, but it also gets some trigger time, which will pay off later. So
Hmm.
um, it's like a kid.
Yeah.
You got to keep your kid busy. Either
Yeah. What would you say the biggest thing you learned on this deployment as a leader?
I started, I would say probably just the political bullshit above my ranks, like platoon sergeant, first sergeant. Started seeing a lot more of that in the inner workings of that stuff. I don't want to, and the Army's mindset of doing it just to do it, even if
Yeah.
there's not a fucking reason, that Army stupidity type thing, you know. Um, that's where I started. I think that's where I started realizing I cared less about rank more and more in that deployment.
Uh huh.
I liked training the Joes. I liked kicking indoors. Um, yeah, I think I learned what I didn't like in the Army, in the rank structure. I think more in that deployment.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Like, it is very hard, especially when you get to a staff, what you did. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So you guys wrap up this deployment, man, and I mean, you're already in depth probably into your career, right? At this point,
Yep. Yep. In depth. Yep.
and you go to Fort Wainwright and you do what is it? The training? What do you do? Some type of training,
Yep.
right?
So at the end of our deployment, started started hearing rumors that they were looking for instructors out at the Mountain Warfare School.
Okay.
And so, having just had like only 6 months in between these deployments, and one of them was the surge. I can't remember if it was third ID or if it was third of 509th. So we did 15 months. I was like, dude, I need a fucking break.
Yeah, it was
I
third
need a
ID.
break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I applied. A bunch of their cadre came down to Anchorage, interviewed us. There's about 3 or 4 of us that got picked up from my unit. So PCS up to Wainwright, and um, started getting trained up to be a mountaineer warfare instructor. So
Right. How did you enjoy that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, like the combat was rewarding. I really, you know, outside of the politics of why we invaded Iraq, I way above my pay grade, whatever. I really enjoyed I felt very sure of why I was there. I didn't question that at all. You know, some of the stuff we did over there, especially that last deployment, being out in the rural areas, we were having problems, with IEDs. So the chain of command had to start burning the piles of hay because they were convinced that they were burying their weapons or their, explosives under these piles of hay that they use to feed their animals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out there and we're burning these piles of feed for their animals. And I'm like, dude, now the guy's got no choice but to get paid to put bombs in the road to kill us because we're taking away his livelihood. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're manufacturing terrorists because we can't outsmart these guys. We can't outwork these guys. It was really frustrating.
Yeah.
That so I needed a break from that. I needed a break. And it was going up there and it was training that. Got to be home pretty much, well, more than I was on the line. Um, so I enjoyed it a lot. I had a hard time kind of regurgitating like from the book and regurgitating it in an instruction format for some reason. I could do it like just walking somebody through it. I could talk to you normal, but like regurgitating it from the book kicked my ass, man. I don't know why it kicked my
Right.
ass, but
Yeah.
I loved it. It was finally I was being taught something that didn't include pulling a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like finally something maybe I can use on the outside, something
Yeah.
that doesn't involve being shot at or shooting at somebody. So I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. And when you wrap up your time in Alaska, dude, you get to go to Afghanistan, and not many people, like some people have been to Iraq and Afghanistan, but you've been to Somalia, Iraq,
Yeah.
and now you're going to Afghanistan, man. And what are you hearing that's different in Afghanistan compared to Iraq and like yeah, well, Iraq
So
mainly.
so Iraq was very kinetic and quick. Quick, like if you got into, troops in contact, you either had artillery support or you had birds CAS, you know, on station within minutes. In, Now, I was never really out away from Baghdad, so I can't speak for everyone, but my experience was everything's right there. If you need medevac, boom, it's there. If you
Yeah.
need support, boom, it's there.
Hmm.
And you get used to that. That's a hard mindset to break. Um, and it was nice because in the mountain warfare school, we got taught wilderness first aid, which wilderness first aid is prolonged care because you're in the mountains.
Right.
So you're not packing for medevac. You're packing to get either out of the wilderness or off the mountain or somewhere where they can get picked up. But in the mountain mindset, you're going to be in an altitude where you can't get helos up to you, whether it be weather, air, altitude, whatever. So I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a good mindset to kind of be forced to think about before going to Afghanistan, because that was the big difference in Afghanistan is everything is so spread out. And unless you're near one of the bigger fobs, yeah, you got to really, your plan and your contingency plan and your emergency plan and your oh shit plan better be dead on, because it's more times than not, you're going to have to rely on that.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing and we weren't even up in the mountains. We were in the southern part
Yeah.
down in Zengabad. So we weren't even up in the mountains, really remote. And I was hoping to get up in the mountains because with the mountaineering background, I was looking forward to being able to, rely on some of the skills that I learned as an instructor. But we ended up in the southern part. A lot of IED stuff going on down there. Fucking
Yeah.
IEDs, man.
Yeah, I was in Kandahar province, but I was in the Mainwan district, so I know
Yeah.
all about the IEDs, man. And like I told you earlier, man, it was like more of like, hey, we're gonna shoot at you and we're gonna lead you to these IEDs, like
Yep.
type stuff. And
Yeah.
they weren't scared to stay there and go toe to toe either, man. They have like a long history of fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna say you can tell that they're a culture of warriors.
Right.
They're a culture of warriors.
Yeah.
You know, we where Iraq you had fighters, but you had terrorists.
Hmm.
They didn't care if they killed Iraqis.
Yeah.
The more the Iraqis they could kill was the better.
Yeah.
You know, Afghanistan, we had a few of those, but you know, they're yeah, we'll fight you. You want to fight? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
They're like countrymen. You know what you
yeah,
mean? Like they're there for the country.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, therefore they're and that's the big thing that was hard for a lot of people to understand is I get what you're saying, but they were so family clan
Yeah.
orientated, like trying to get their military or their police to understand like your country pride. They're like, the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking about them. I was talking about the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're, you know, they don't, there's just lines on a map to them. They don't understand it's all family and clans to them. You know, it's
Yeah.
so, and that, you know, that was the one thing that was frustrating in the military is you come back home from deployment and everyone's talking about hearts and minds and setting up a democracy. And it's like, they don't want that. You don't understand that they don't care that we live this way. They don't care.
Yeah.
I
You're
think
sure you're
Iraq,
strictly talking about the Afghanis, right?
well, even Iraq a little bit, I noticed is, especially once you get out of the city, out of Baghdad, the rural people, the rural farmers, they didn't give a shit. Saddam would send them their rice, their whatever they kind of needed. It was minimal, but and they had security. They weren't getting shot or blown up, or Americans weren't blowing up their house or burning up all their, you know, food for their animals. So it's once we got rid of Saddam, they're like, well, how is this any better? I don't care who's in charge. I just want to live my life. I want my rights delivered. I want security, you know. But I think Iraqis were a little bit more civilized. They wanted a government. They wanted that. I didn't get that sense with Afghanis at all, man. They wanted us out.
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit what they were doing to each other. They wanted you out, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, I'm trying to help you, and they're like, we don't care. We don't care.
Yeah.
So
Um, how do you feel wrapping up Afghanistan? Like if you look back on your career, right? Like you're like, I went through one of the craziest like 2 days of my life. I
yeah,
went through like Solder City, you know what I mean? And now you went through Afghanistan, one of the country with one of the longest history of like wars. How do you look back on your like because at 2015, right, you retired. So how are you
yep.
looking back on this and like how are you like absorbing it, you know what I mean, as a man now?
So it's funny because when I retired out of the military in Fort Carson, I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, because I back in the day I initially joined to be a police officer. But when I got out, I had two kids. Um, I didn't want to get shot at anymore. I didn't want to wear a uniform. I didn't want to have to piss in a bottle every fucking week. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't want any of that. So I ended up getting a job running an ice rink in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I packed up all my military shit. I didn't go to the VFW. I hardly talked to any of my military buddies because I knew because the rink I was running was run by the university. So all my employees were college and high school kids
Hmm.
in a college town.
Right.
If I go around knife handing, hey, fucktard, you're doing your job shitty. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a job very long. I cannot be Army Jeff, as my daughters like to call it. So I tried to really flush, suppress, whatever you want to call it, my last life as a military guy.
Hmm.
Because again, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. You know, they're not going to care that I did all that if I'm chewing out some kid because he fucked up and broke something. They're not going to care what my background is. They just care about results and what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, I again didn't I hardly went to the range. I didn't get any trigger time. I mean, I was committed to learning how to be a civilian. I don't know. whether that's healthy or not, I don't know. I don't know. You know, my marriage fell apart. Um, Ended up leaving that job. I'm kind of glad I did. And I knew it was a shit job, like pay and hours and stuff going into it. But I was like, I have to start somewhere. If I want to go somewhere where I have some seniority or experience, it's going to be either contracting or police work. And I didn't want any of that. I didn't want it. I wanted to hang out with my kids. I was coaching. Both my girls were playing hockey at the time. And that's why I got into ice rinks, because I could be there with them. Um, so, you know, I was trying to move on to that next phase of life, big
Yeah.
time, you know. Um, Probably not the healthiest way to do it, probably. But you know, it's I missed a lot of time with my kids. I mean, shit, when I retired, I had more time with Iraqi kids than my own kids. Straight
Hmm.
up.
Yeah.
By not a good margin either. So I was gonna do anything and everything to help develop my kids, support them, whatever you want
Just
to call it.
just be in their life, right?
Yeah, be in their life. I it was so gratifying. Coaching my oldest. Um, she's my mini me, man. She's my personality, my mouth. She's in college playing hockey, doing ROTC, gonna fly helicopters. Um, yeah. So that was very rewarding. Um, my youngest was playing a little bit, and then she figure skating. We're closer now. Um, we used to go shooting quite a bit together, so it's. I'm happy that I had those relationships, and I'm glad. Kind of the point I was trying to make is I'm glad I missed time when they're younger, because I think when they're younger they're fine with more time with mom. I'm glad I was around later on for them.
Yeah.
So, and I think we see that lack of father leadership in families these days, and what's going on with the youth. Um, I mean, that's not my motivating factor, but I think it's hugely important for kids. Hugely
Mhm.
important. So,
Yeah. I mean, I kind of I feel you because I did the same thing, man. I got out. I had a promising career, and I got out too. And I wasn't gonna be in the same state as my kid, where the army was gonna take me, right? Because you get to that point where the army's like, I'm gonna
yep.
move you here, right? So I feel you on that hardcore. How did you deal with like? I mean, did you like you talked about early about the Somalian people, and you kind of felt like you had PTSD or stuff like that. Did you ever suffer with that afterwards, like after your time in the army?
So, um, no. Well, yes and no. So, I joined the military. I didn't know what it would be like killing somebody or that situation, but I knew going into the military that I would have to face that, you know. Um, so I don't know if, see, we're kind of getting into that realm of PTSD, and this is my personal feeling. Nobody else's. I'm not judging anybody else. I wanted to go in. I chose the infantry. I kept fighting to get back to the infantry. And there was some firefights that were very fulfilling for me. Um, there, there's some shitty people in this world. There's some evil, shitty people in this world, and I enjoyed helping thin that pool out. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie. Um, I hate saying it because it makes you sound like a fucking psychopath, but um, it was a job that I wanted, and after watching the towers fall on live TV, you or me, bud. So I there was one or two different instances where I have some issues dealing with. Um, One, we hit the wrong house, and I knew it was the wrong house, and I didn't argue with the lieutenant long enough, and I should have argued more because I ended up having to shoot a mentally handicapped dude up on the roof. So that one I struggle with because it's didn't need to happen, and it was because I didn't stand up more harder. So Lieutenant was a great guy. I mean, it's, he just thought it was the wrong place, and we got inserted off, and so, but I knew it was the wrong house.
Yeah.
So that one is kind of hard to deal with for me. Um, Somalia, you had to shoot some Somalians. They were using kids as ammo bearers with RPGs, and they were sending these kids 10, 11, 12 from site to site during firefights with RPGs to reload their buddies. And it's like, well, we either let them reload and we keep getting hammered, or we start shooting the kids,
Yeah.
So but other than that, the rest of them, man, I got no problem with,
Yeah.
you know, no problem with
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Did you, hey, so like I really appreciate the fact that you said like, hey, you kind of found your kids to be like your new purpose, right? Like because you wanted to be present in their life, and I think that's what a lot of guys struggle with when they get out of the military.
It's hard, man, because you know whatever you're even that saw gunner PFC PV2, he's got a saw with 100 round nutsack, and he can lay waste in a heartbeat. That's a lot of power. You're 18 years old. You can direct these adults from another. There's some power. Even as that PV2 standing on a street corner, he's got power.
Mhm.
And then just multiply that by more responsibility or rank you get in the military. And then you get out, and it's like, well, we'll let you stock shelves.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
let you drive the forklift. Dude, I was driving strike. You know what I mean? It's so I get it. I get it for these guys. I had one of my uncles. He was a pharmacy tech. I think he was running the pharmacy. He was an NCO. He was running the pharmacy at Fort Benning's hospital, whatever hospital that is. But he got out. He was an E6, got out, in the civilian hospital wouldn't even let him fulfill his prescription. You know what I mean? And it's, you go from that to fuck. And there's no purpose, there's no camaraderie, there's none of that.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hard to deal with. I just worked my ass off, man. I never ran an ice rink. So that first probably 6 months, dude, I was probably 18 hours a day, just learning, making mistakes, learning, working with my kid, on the ice. So I had that. That was my new purpose, you
Yeah.
know. Um, like now, and so I left doing ice rinks, I don't know, 3 years ago now. And it's been a real struggle to find something. I'm doing security now, and it's cool because it's not like just sit at a desk for 8 hours security. I've got a couple different remote sites that I have to travel to, so it's patrolling in a vehicle. It's being a cop without all the bullshit. So that's nice because it's something different. I'm still serving a community, um, which is nice.
Mhm.
I think being military veterans, I can say probably most of us hate bullies. And bullies, I kind of encompass with drug dealers and shitty people that prey on other people.
Mhm.
To me, though, that encompasses that bully bubble. Um, so I can't arrest anybody, but I like kind of running those guys off and disrupting that enterprise or whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
not it isn't as fulfilling, but I also like, hey, dude, you've had your career. You know, you're still doing something. It's just on a smaller scale. Because my girls are older. One's off to school, one's almost out of the house, so it's you know they don't want to hang out with dad. It's
Yeah.
it's I still have a good relationship with them, I think. Um, but it's you know you gotta let them go to do their thing too. And
Yeah.
that's a hard thing as a parent, especially when you're really, really involved with and helping and hanging with them. And especially with my oldest, as much as, I mean, on the ice every night with her, every weekend traveling, just me and her. So um but it's also rewarding watching them become their own people too. you
Yeah.
know it kind of, that little pat on the back, saying, hey,
Yeah.
I didn't always feel like I was a good parent, but when they do good, it's like, okay, maybe I wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah. Yeah, you said a lot there. So like what I'm trying to recapitulate what you said too. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of back what we talked about earlier in the podcast, where like when you're actually doing your job downrange, there's nothing better than that. And then
Yep.
also, I want to highlight what you say about being a parent, man. Like it's like I got out for my kid, you know what I mean, and it's important that they deserve. Obviously, they deserve the life that you didn't get, but also they don't deserve like a bad you. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? What I'm saying? Like they don't deserve like, hey, that dude that's just disgruntled for no reason and other stuff. Like, yeah, cards don't always fall our way. Like I always tell people, the enemy always has a better day to us than us
Yeah.
sometimes, and they don't deserve that stuff, and it's good to hear that, like, hey, being a parent is so important to you, man. Because to me, it's as equally important to me.
It is. And unfortunately, for my oldest, I raising her was in that time frame of the deployments. So unfortunately for her, she was raised pretty much like a soldier.
Yeah,
I was pretty hard on her. Um, I look back and sometimes think probably unfairly too hard on her, but look at her and what she's accomplishing now in her mindset. It's like, okay, that worked. That parenting style worked for her and her mindset.
yeah,
Thankfully. So
yeah. Um, what would you give advice for the ones that can't find purpose?
it's hard, man, because it's that's all we crave. That's, I mean,
Yeah,
nobody joins to get famous, or I mean, maybe some do now with all seeing everyone, these guys that are putting out books and podcasts. But I mean, in the beginning, man, nobody goes in to get rich or be famous. We do it to escape probably the shit back home, or being a nobody, trying to, but at the base of it, you just want something bigger than yourself. And you can't create that. That's the hard thing, man. It's, even when I was a National Guard recruiter back in Michigan, I got involved with the VFW trying to find that, but it just, nothing's the same. It's,
hmm,
I see why a lot of vets go and be police officers. Um, I think it's a very similar mindset and lifestyle and purpose. Um, but I think, the political landscape there is pushing a lot of those guys out, but it's hard. I don't have a really good answer for it, man. It's,
hmm,
you know, I don't know. I thankfully I've never struggled with alcoholism. I mean, I drink like a fish, especially up in 10th Mountain, but um, it's, I and even, I don't have the suicidal thoughts. And it's hard for me to understand the vets that do. To be honest, I feel for them, and I don't know if I'm lucky or if I'm just too stupid. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I just know that I wanted to go in. I know that I was willing to sacrifice a lot so that my kids wouldn't have to fight that fight. So I don't know if of I don't know, man. I hate speaking for other people or assuming things. It's just, I know I never, up to this point yet, um, haven't had that hurdle to go across. It's, to me, nothing has been that much. And I also, and maybe it's, I'm just old enough to realize that even if my pain, I'm not ending my pain. I'm just transferring it.
right,
I would just be transferring it to my kids. And
yeah,
it's like, there's already things that I wish I could have given them. I wish I had a better paying job to provide them more. So what? I want to give them that hurdle to deal with? Fuck no. I'm not putting that on them. You know what I mean?
hmm,
So, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm a chicken shit. I don't know, you know,
yeah,
but, it's, no, it's, it's hard. I feel for vets that have that battle that they're struggling with.
yeah,
I haven't. So it's hard for me to kind of guess or know what to say to help, you know. Um, so yeah, I don't have a really good answer on that one, man. It's find something, and it's yeah, easier said than done, asshole. I get it, you know, but
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
you know,
I
I fell into the security thing, and it's kind of itching the scratch right now. You
yeah.
know, it's
I found the best way you really need to rely on yourself and your family. Like I always tell people, you kind of got to get over yourself at some point. And it sounds ugly to say, but and like I just told you, hey, your kid doesn't deserve that. You know, your wife doesn't deserve that.
yeah,
You didn't just survive a war zone to do this to yourself, right? There's
yeah.
people that we lost a lot of people over there, and they wouldn't want you moping around like it's the worst day on the earth. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you remember them, but I'm pretty sure if they would probably want to be alive too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
And that's a good point too, because I do tell myself that it's one I don't have a lot of friends, and that's for a reason. You know, most people suck. Our drama is bullshit, but
yeah,
um, you know, you get used to, especially in the military for so long, you used to just guys coming in, you get friends, and then they're gone. It's whether it be from combat death or just PCS or so
just moving
it's
on with their life.
yeah, it's not really yeah, it sucks, but you know, I got a couple buddies that we lost, and it's like, okay, is this what he wants me? Is this why he sacrificed so I can sit here and woe is me? You
Yeah,
know, fuck that. It's you know, and again, I don't mean to take away from anybody else's situation, but I 100% agree with you, man. It's you got to get over it. You know,
yeah,
nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. It's
yeah,
you know, then and not saying that you know that's the reason or whatever. I know it'll piss off some people, but you
yeah,
do. It's nobody gives a shit. You gotta do it yourself.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for
it's hard.
sure. It is very hard. Like I'm always a lending ear. Look, we've been talking for over 2 hours, man, and I'm always down to talk to
Yeah.
people. I'm always down to talk to people, man. I'm always like, I just want. It's a hard pill for people to swallow when I tell them like, hey, you got to get over it at some point, and it's not
And
easy, man. I get into some arguments with it. You know what I mean? So
it is. And some of these, you know, and some of them have some other, I think, mental issues that are maybe exacerbated by their experience.
mhm.
You know, so I'm sure there's some things in there. Look, man, nobody can say that they understand how the mind works. There's no fucking way. And if you've been married, you know goddamn good and well that a mind is a fucking weird ass thing.
Yeah,
You don't know what the hell your brain's going to do. So it's, you know, yes, people have different triggers, different things going on in their lives and all that. There's not one answer that covers everybody's issues. You know what I mean?
yeah,
At the end of the day, you got to live for your buddies, and if you got a family, you got to live for them like they're your soldiers.
yeah,
You know, you've got to support them, you got to provide for them, and don't pass on that pain to them, man. It ain't worth it.
yeah.
So,
Um. Well, Jeff, this is the end of the podcast, man. Do you have any questions for me?
no, no, I think I'm good, man. That was a quick 2 hours. Holy shit!
Yeah, it was a good one, man. Well, I appreciate it. Jeff Holman, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, appreciate it. Everybody, be safe.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you already made it this far, go ahead and hit that subscription button or follow if you're on Spotify. Share this content. Once again, hit us up on all major socials. I'm always looking for guests. Thank you so much for checking it out. We drop a new episode every Wednesday. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode.